Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show with your host, Shikama. Study predicts decades of global cooling ahead. A new study out of the United Kingdom predicts the Earth is about to go through a major climatic shift that could mean decades of cooler temperature and fewer hurricanes hitting the United States. Scientists at the University of Southampton predict that a cooling of the Atlantic Ocean could cool global temperatures a half degree Celsius and may offer a brief respite from the persistent rise of global temperatures, according to their study. This cooling phase in the Atlantic will influence temperature, rainfall, drought, and even the frequency of hurricanes in many regions of the world, says Dr. Gerard McCarthy. The study's author based their results on ocean sensor arrays and 100 years of sea level data. Quote, sea surface temperatures in the Atlantic vary between warm and cool over timescales of many decades, said McCarthy, the study lead author. This decadal variability, called the Atlantic Multi-decadal Oscillation, AMO, is a notable feature in the Atlantic Ocean and the climate of the region it influences. The observations of AMO from sensor arrays over the past 10 years show that it is declining, Dr. David Smead, a co-author, said in a statement. As a result, we expect the AMO is moving to a negative phase, which will result in cooler surface waters. This is consistent with observations of temperature in the North Atlantic. Researchers argue that a negative AMO will bring drier summers in Britain and Ireland, accelerated sea level rise along the northeast coast of the United States, and drought in the developing countries of Sahel region. According to the study's press release, interestingly enough, the study also predicts fewer hurricanes hitting the U.S. a result of a cooler Atlantic. Atlantic cooling can impact the climate for decades, according to researchers on timescales from 20 to 30 years. This means cooler global temperatures and changing weather patterns could unfold over the next 2 to 3 decades, possibly extending the so-called pause in global warming. For years, scientists have debated why satellite temperatures data shows there have been about 18 years with no warming trend. Surface temperature data shows a similar pause in warming for the last 10 to 15 years. So far, the dominant explanation seems to be that oceans have absorbed a lot of the heat that would have otherwise gone into the atmosphere, and most scientists argue the world would continue warming because of increased greenhouse gas emissions. Some scientists, however, have been arguing the world is indeed headed for a cooling phase based on solar cycles. Scientists from Germany to India have argued that weakening solar activity could bring about another little ice age. Quote, the stagnation of temperature since 1998 was caused by a decreased solar activity since 1998, wrote Jürgen Longheim, a physicist with the German-based European Institute for Climate and Energy, IKE. From 1900 to 1998, solar radiation increased by 1.3 watts over m squared. But since 1998, it has diminished and could reach values similar to those of the Earth's 20th century. A drop in global temperatures over the next few years is predicted, Hein wrote. The Virginia-based Vanker Weather recently reported that, not since cycle 14 peaked in February 1906, has there been a solar cycle with fewer sunspots. We are currently more than 6 years into solar cycle 24, and the current nearly blank sun may signal the end of the solar maximum phase, Vanker Weather experts noted. Quote, going back to 1755, there have been only a few solar cycles in the previous 23 that have had a lower number of sunspots during its maximum phase. McCarthy and his colleagues, however, argue that there could be a reprieve from warming based on natural ocean cycles, not solar activity. The British scientists argued that weather ocean currents are carrying less heat northward from the tropics. This little ice age has actually been reported for the past 40 years as oncoming. It was only interrupted by this fear-mongering of global, quote-unquote, warming. However, the initial reports back in 1980 predicting a little ice age was also said to be caused by man. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show.